Anyway, I'm going to bring up a very funny guy. You're going to enjoy him, and he's been watching us, and he plays all over the place. Ladies and gentlemen, Lyle Dykesler, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, all right. Just as Congress grapples over censoring TV to show less violence on the airwaves in order to somehow decrease violence in real life, what does TV bring us? We get real-life cop shows like Cops in Philadelphia. That's right, live camera crews following live cops shooting live people dead in the streets. Boy, is that Congress something or what? So I'm watching one of these cop shows one night, and there's a man lying flat on his stomach on a sidewalk with about a dozen cops standing around him, guns drawn, pointed at his head. And there's this vicious attack dog with its jaws clamped on the guy's leg, and the guy's pounding his fist on the sidewalk screaming, "Just get the dog off me! Just get the dog off me!" The dog is having so much fun, its entire body is raised up in the air, and its little butt's wiggling back and forth as it mauls this guy. The dog thinks it's Thanksgiving and he's feasting on leftovers. And those cops, boy, they're ready. They got their guns drawn just in case this guy should happen to get up and run away. I mean, you got Cujo over here tearing his leg off, and the cops are waiting to blow his head off. Man, I'm glad they're decreasing violence on TV. It's like, hey boys, I think you can put your guns away. Cujo's got the situation under control. Those cops could go grab a pizza, place some bets at the local OTB, come back to the scene, and Cujo would probably be up to the guy's torso by then. Hey Bob, think we should pull the dog off him? Nah, he really likes that torso meat. Let's wait till he gets up to his neck. When the cops finally do go to pull Cujo off him, suddenly Cujo don't want to let go, and this poor schmuck becomes the biggest wishbone in Thanksgiving history. The cops and Cujo start struggling over who gets the bigger half. Next thing you know, Cujo's going to slap on the handcuffs, drag him downtown, book him, and then spit out his femur bone. Speaking of TV, we got any Jeopardy fans out there, huh?
Yeah!
Yeah? All right. Woo! Ever see Contestant Theme Week on Jeopardy, where all the contestants come from the same background? One week it's Seniors Week, next week it's College Week. You know what I'm dying to see on Jeopardy, man? I'm dying to see Freak Week, huh? Wouldn't that be great? Freak Week. And I can hear the announcer, Johnny Gilbert, saying, "And now, entering our studios, a transvestite from the West Village, Juanita. Our next contestant is a recovering heroin addict from Seattle, Washington. Please welcome Jimmy Johnson. And finally, your favorite type of freak in mind, that old standby, a serial killer from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Please give a big Jeopardy round of applause to Kevin Wilson, Jr. And then, you know how between rounds the host, Alex Trebek, has those totally pathetic and condescending conversations with each of the contestants? Well, wouldn't it be a great rap session with these three, huh? So, Juan, it says here you're a transvestite. Now, I'm a little confused. Does that mean you just enjoy dressing up in women's clothing, or is it a hormonal thing? Well, Alex, why don't you come up to my apartment one night and find out? Our next contestant is a serial killer. So what are we talking, 20, 30 steps? And is there a number one has to reach before they're considered an official serial killer? I don't know about official numbers, Alex, but I'm at 42. 42, really? And what are we talking, men? Women? Maybe a couple of house pets thrown in to break up the monotony? It's just game show hosts, Alex. If I were you, I'd take the bus home tonight. Could be problems with your pretty new Mercedes. Okay, well, maybe you should hook up with our next contestant, a former heroin addict. I have a feeling some of his smack might be able to calm you down a bit. Already tried smack, Alex. Doesn't work. I see. Well, speaking of smack, it's a subject our next contestant knows quite well. He's a recovering heroin addict. Tell us, Jimmy, why did you start injecting heroin into your bloodstream in the first place?
Well, man, you see, I kind of deviated my septum from all the coke I was snorting, so I turned to heroin, man.
Ah, right. Those nasal passages just weren't meant for the corrosive effects of some of today's more popular stimulants. So tell us, Jimmy, what are you going to do when you run out of places on your body to shoot up with?
Well, man, I'll probably go back to Halcyon.
Ah, yes, Halcyon, good choice. Ex-President George Bush's favorite sedative. Maybe that's why he didn't get anything done his 4 years in office. He was always sleeping. So, big news story broke last week. Apparently the FBI has a 600-page file on the dead conductor Leonard Bernstein. It's true. Saw it on the front page of the Times. The FBI spied on him, considered starting a smear campaign against him, all because of the liberal causes he supported. Of course, Mr. Bernstein didn't harm anybody. It's nice to know the FBI is spending our money wisely. I, for one, can sleep better knowing Leonard Bernstein hasn't compromised the security of America. But I tell you, though, he did get pretty crazy with that conductor's baton when he was up on stage conducting, you know? I bet you the feds were afraid that this fat, pseudo-radical Jewish man was going to use his conductor's baton to attack a military policeman while breaking into the Pentagon, you know, huh? Can you see him out there? This one's for Brezhnev! Yeah, that's nice, Lenny. So, I walked past this locksmith shop the other day, and in the window of the store is this spiffy display of a brand new lock. And this lock is mounted on a piece of clear plexiglass, and you can look through the plexiglass and see all the cylinders and pins inside the lock. And I'm thinking, gee, that's intelligent. Let's show the criminals exactly how this lock works, so they can break into my house easier. I mean, the advertising copy below the display might as well have read, once you get past the first tumbler, there's only 2 more to go. I dated a girl once whose father was a locksmith. The first time I met her father, I stuck out my hand to shake his, and he grabbed my hand rather firmly, and he starts doing this. He almost broke my wrist. I said to him, if that's your way of trying to keep my hands off of your daughter, it ain't gonna work. And he says to me, oh yeah? Well, wait until you see the custom chastity belt that my Sally's wearing. I said, no problem. My dad's a welder. Thank you.